them using the blue light to show Bullseye's powers. I love that. I love this technique where they're going like how they're showcasing these superheroes and vigilantes or whatnot using their powers.
That Kingpin clearly understands Matt's powers a little bit, like when they're on the dance floor and he's like whispering, knowing that only Matt can hear him. Really enjoyed that. And this episode fundamentally changes Gamechanger.
I saw this as well, and
because previously we, as the viewer, didn't need to worry about anything, right? We would go into an episode, we would find out the premise of the episode about the same time as the contestants, sometimes earlier, and then we just get to laugh at the people who are being played with by Sam Reich. But now, every time a cast member does something weirder than normal, there's going to be a part of our brain that's just like, is this a game changer? Hello and welcome to episode 157 of Cutscene Convos. We have got an absolute monster episode for you this week. We have got a character profile on Cole North. We have got Daredevil Born Again episode 8.
Yeah, the penultimate episode.
I've been here the whole time. Gamechanger season 7 is here, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be recapping everything that happened at CinemaCon. And as always, we have the Nerd News Network. But for all that good stuff, Horizontal, how's your week been?
My week has been fairly chill by design, as I'm on the run up to starting this new job. So I'm like, well, I'm just gonna enjoy these next couple of weeks where I have very little to do because my whole life and schedule is gonna change. So yeah, I mean, it's been a pretty chill week. The only thing I've really had going on is I've completely started shifting my gym routine in preparation for
the big change.
Yeah, it's not very practical to be going to the gym at like 11 o'clock at night.
When you've got other shit to do.
Yeah, and then when I'm gonna have to obviously be up for work, and I know I'm not a morning person, so I need to be going to bed by like midnight. I contemplated going for do I risk trying to be an early morning gym person, as I once did back in uni, but I realized I'd probably have to be going to the gym for like 5:30 in the morning, because obviously I've got to drive to the gym, do my workout, then get back out of town. I was like, that's just not going to happen.
It becomes more hassle than it's worth very quickly, and then you just stop going altogether, don't you?
Yeah, I'm not a morning person, I'm a nocturnal person, so I'm just going to go on weekends, is my plan.
Fair enough.
But yeah, other than that, it's been a very chill week. Been playing Rivals, been grinding out the end of the season.
Yeah.
And then yeah, next week, through this 2-week break we're having, I will be starting the new job, which is exciting.
Yeah. Exciting times, big times.
How's your week been?
How's my week been? Not too bad. My new OLED gorgeous monitor arrived last Friday. So
yeah,
that's
so you're
set
looking
up.
at me in crisp 1440p
yeah,
now.
You've never looked so good, Hori. You've never looked so good. The colours are better. Anyone who knows anything about monitors knows that going from a 1080p IPS, pretty standard monitor, to a 1440p OLED is like going from a bicycle to like a nice BMW. It feels just phenomenal.
You probably see all my grey hairs now, can't you?
No, I've got the white balance down. You're fine. It just looks nice and dark. But yeah, so that's been really fun. I've got it all set up. The setup is like, barring the new PC, which I'm hoping to be able to build maybe this weekend or maybe next Wednesday. Now that we're done with the podcast, I might be able to get it done then, depending on when stuff arrives. Touch wood. We're good to go. So I'm having a lot of fun there. Also, lots of Marvel Rivals as the season's coming up to an end. I've not had to record any videos for a while, and as a result, I haven't. So now I'm realizing that I need to get back. Yeah, I need to get back to it before they're completely gone, and then I've just built up that buffer for literally nothing.
Well, It's lucky for you. There's a new season of Marvel Rivals.
You heard. But yeah, other than that, my week's not been too bad. We're out
Nice.
tomorrow. We've got a what is it? It's afternoon tea on a train. It
Oh,
was a voucher that we got for Christmas, like not this Christmas, just gone the Christmas before. Although I'm heartbroken, it was supposed to be on a steam train, but their steam train is broken at the minute, so it's just going to be on a 1960s
oof.
diesel train. And I'm like, okay, well, the steam
Oh,
train
my
was the big
Harry
selling
Potter
point. I've got to be
fantasy is
honest.
gone.
Yeah, the steam train was like a big selling point. Now it's just going to be an old train.
You could get on one of them normally.
Like, yeah, just wait around a little while and you're gonna get on an old train. If you've been in the tube, then trains are fucking ancient.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, not too bad. It'll be nice just to get a day or additional day off work and to break the week up a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, not too much going on. My voice is going to shit all of a sudden. But other than that,
Who's
we're
all
all
that
good. Yeah.
shouting at us on chain together?
Yeah. Check these have been some of the loudest streams we've ever had this week. Monday was Chained Together, which was just laughter and screaming.
Yep.
Then last night, obviously, we were playing Rivals while I was watching the Champions League
Oh yeah,
game.
you're freaking
So on
out.
numerous occasions, you and Joe just got deafened as Arsenal
Mm-hmm.
scored again. It was phenomenal. But yeah, clearly my voice is starting to give out on me. So let's see if we can get through this. But let us get cracking. Our character profile this week is on the one and only Cole North. Born in Chicago, Cole North knows all too well that the police force are not inherently good. Despite this, he still believes in justice and decided he would join the Chicago PD to try and do better. He served the people of Chicago loyally, even taking down corrupt officers to try and turn the police force into what it should be rather than what it is. However, tragedy struck one night when, while in pursuit of a drug dealer, North saw what he thought was someone reaching for a gun and opened fire. Instead, he shot and killed a 16-year-old boy who was pulling out his phone. Devastating North, he felt betrayed and he felt he had betrayed the people he swore to protect. He was placed on administrative leave and assigned therapy to help him handle the situation. Remaining in Chicago was not something North could handle, so he left his wife Anna and transferred to New York City and the NYPD. He made his disdain for dirty cops clear when he was given Fred Higgins as a partner. Higgins wasn't a dirty cop, but he also wasn't anywhere near as highly decorated as North. Enjoying the change of scenery, North got straight back to work, helping protect the city from criminals and dirty cops alike, even going as far as outing police officers for lying about Daredevil's involvement with a murder. North went on an inadvertent tirade against Daredevil when he began investigating a murder and came across the vigilante. When Daredevil wouldn't comply for questioning, North shot him and arrested him. This wouldn't be enough, however, as Punisher later attacked North and freed Daredevil, further creating a target on North's back. With the NYPD, the cops who broke the rules hated him, and the cops who believed in what Daredevil was doing hated him too. In fact, it seemed like the only person who was willing to commend North for his attempt at capturing Daredevil was Mayor Wilson Fisk. North had no interest in platitudes with the mayor, however, and was right back to work. This led to Daredevil retreating from crime fighting, and North was redirected to deal with a different vigilante, Spider-Man. Eventually, things began to boil over, and North's partner Higgins was killed by dirty cops to try and intimidate and silence North. Desperate for revenge, North took the fight to them, and he was only stopped from killing them by Daredevil. This led to North having a crisis for faith in the system, which he discussed with Spider-Man and then later Daredevil himself. Eventually, they came up with a plan to deal with their current pressing issues, and then Daredevil would surrender himself for the crimes he'd committed to North so that he could take his punishment. When Daredevil was once again a free man after serving his time for his crimes, and he was in control of the Fist, he invited North to join him, which he did. However, he found Daredevil's obsessive pursuit of justice impossible to reconcile and decided to leave and take up Foggy Nelson's offer of creating a legal firm in which he would operate as chief investigator. Ironically, Cole North only came into existence in like 2019 as part of Chip Zdarsky's run on Daredevil, which is an incredibly popular one that I've not read. It is on my list. And a lot of people, and part of the reason I want to do the character profile, have been a little bit upset with how he's so far been portrayed in Born Again. Kind of being on Fisk's task force and the association of being a dirty cop that comes with that has rubbed people up the wrong way.
I would say that so far, and even in today's episode, he himself hasn't been shown to do anything wrong or anything dirty yet, which might lean into the right, like they're doing it in the right way.
I think their plan is to play a case of this task force was created to stop vigilantes, which North would be for. And then he's going to find out about the dirty shit that's going on and be like, no fucking way, I'm not being a part of that.
Yeah. I find it interesting that they've kind of also split his story a little bit with Cherry, who is Matt's investigator.
Keeper.
Sorry. Yeah. He's kind of doing that side of the story in a way.
Yeah, I think a lot of Cherry's role has stayed in from obviously the previous incarnations of the show, where it was more going to be like a I forget his name, the previous police officer they worked with. Clearly, that was like a role that was supposed to replace his previous part. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how Cole North develops in episode 9 and into season 2 of Daredevil Born Again, to see if we eventually get closer to the true version that people would like to see adapted from the comics.
I think we might. I think there's potential there.
Absolutely. Speaking of Daredevil Born Again, just moving straight into it. Last week I said I don't want to throw all of the bad on the previous team and all of the good on the new team. However, we know that episodes 8 and 9 are solely the new team. They didn't have to chop anything else in. These 2 episodes are them top to bottom how they wanted to do.
Yeah.
This episode was better written than the majority of the season has been. The use of the things that we get a little bit horny over, coloured lighting,
the cinematography,
smart cinematography. Just, do you know what I said? I said to Jen, I was like, they're having fun with the camera. They weren't. They weren't married to like camera is on each tripod and we will just move it to follow what's happening and we'll cut. They like actually zoomed into stuff and panned to stuff, and it felt more dynamic and less. You know how like a sitcom is very like 2 cameras and that's it?
Well, yeah.
It felt less like that.
We're getting to see the directors actually showcase their artistry more than just being told kind of point the camera in the right place and direct this show. Like they're getting to show their artistry and creativity from the direction of that. Yeah, I mean the colors, like a huge thing that we've talked about throughout this show is like we've been loving the use of the red lighting, the mirroring between Matt and Fisk, the way that they've shown Matt focusing in and out, which apparently that rig is too. The way they do that effect, because obviously you get like quite a wide angle when it does the zoom out. So I'm pretty sure it's two lenses on one thing, but then one of them is an anamorphic, which rather than doing usually when you film an anamorphic, it looks that like squashed and weirdly shaped, but then obviously in software you stretch it out, and that's why you get the letterbox effect. I think they're doing something with that where they're just not stretching it out, and then they're like panning between two focal lengths
Yeah.
and shit. Like
There's
stuff
also a
like
little bit
that.
of like they're doing like a traditional dolly push while also
Yes,
like changing the focal length,
yes.
which gives it like a double effect, which looks fucking awesome.
And I think, like you said, you can tell in this one that it was all them. One, from the writing and the way they built tension through this episode, and also just like how they were able to very clearly pull all these side character stories together finally. Like, you knew this was at the point where they're like, okay, we don't have to try and weave in other stuff. We can like write this to bring these all together in the perfect way. On
Hmm.
top of that, with all the cinematography, them using the blue light to show Bullseye's powers, I fucking
Hmm.
love that. I love this technique where they're going like how they're showcasing these superheroes and vigilantes or whatnot using their powers, other than just being like, yeah, he's got sick aim. Like, you can't
It's
really. How else do you show that? You need to come up with a creative way.
time when it comes to comic book adaptations, we talk about how difficult it is to like get a moment that feels straight out of a comic book. And like
Mm,
part of that is comic books are their own version of art, and it's really difficult to translate that into live action. And part of it is sometimes they don't respect comic books enough to
mm-hmm,
even try to. They just like get rid of anything that seems a bit silly.
mm.
And they're like, no, fuck that. After he escapes like his handcuffs and he kills two guys, they're like flash of blue light, and it's kind of like oh, where's the blue light come from? And like no one, there is not a single person who watched this episode and went, oh, where's that blue light come from? You instinctively
Well,
know it's to show us that he's like
his
back,
focus,
like
yeah.
he's
Well,
yeah.
you got it from the opening shot where he's watching that guy with the roses, and everything's blue, and then it fades into the normal color, and then it's him watching him from the cell or whatever, to give you that taste of, oh, this is something tied with Bullseye. Then, like you say, he gets free by firing his tooth at a guy.
Fucking awesome, so awesome.
Like, that little action scene coming from such a well written scene between him and Matt,
Mm-hmm.
like Bullseye fucking playing Matt essentially because he knows his rage was going to get the better of him, and in a sense hoped he'd do something that then would essentially give him that way
Yeah,
out. And
he
him,
absolutely
as
played
soon
him.
as he slammed his head and he says thank you to Matt, that's when he's like, oh yeah, I've just played you for my own escape.
Mm-hmm. It's fucking brilliant. I said to Jenna while watching this, I need any superhero has any project set in New York for the rest of eternity to have their opening scene. You know how the opening scene is normally not normally attached to the actual main story. It's just trying to
Mm.
show them being a hero.
Mm-hmm.
Like, imagine the opening scene of Spider-Man 4 is him swinging around New York doing stuff, and he's having to chase Bullseye because Bullseye's on a fucking rampage again. Just make it so every hero's like first job of every film is they have to go deal with Bullseye. That's because Bullseye's this dude who's just running around constantly causing chaos. He just breaks out of prison time and time again, and it's always someone's job to get him.
Yeah, I mean, it would
Make
be a
Bullseye the
cool
new
way.
Stan Lee cameo.
Yeah. Um, there's just so many things. It's like the writing was so well done, the tension build up.
Hmm. It
Um,
it felt a lot more deliberate in everything it did.
yes.
I think that's the best way I can put it across.
There was like two the fucking lines with the writing. The whole when he's talking to Kirsten and they're having their little like he's kind of done like he's clearly feeling done with trying to be a lawyer at the moment.
Yeah,
And the
that
whole
that kind of
when
the mask is slipping and he's lost that
mhm,
faith in the system again. Is it's
yeah,
like
that
yeah,
we're not
he's
serving
ready.
justice here. We're babysitting chaos is like the greatest summary for Hell's Kitchen.
Hmm.
um, and
And
then
and
like
really sells that idea of him just like he's had a taste of helping as Daredevil again. He
mhm.
feel like things are getting out of control, and he's like, "There's nothing we can do here to fix this. Only I can fix this by getting out there and crushing some skulls, so
Well,
to
yeah, and
speak."
like, and the one time he purposefully didn't act as Daredevil and made sure to himself that he let the law do it was with Bullseye, and then he's been moved to Gen Pop, and like people are pulling strings on him without like, and it's like, so what was the point in everything we've done if it like it's still not working?
Mm-hmm.
I do think whether Kirsten finds out who he is, like that he is Daredevil, or is he going to end up walking away from their law firm? Like, there's something
So
going to
it's,
happen there.
I know people are not as fond of the new cast that have come in. And I think in some cases it's pretty fair. I don't think Cherry as a character has been particularly interesting or well used. Kirsten I do find very interesting, and I hope
Mm,
that we see more of her next week and going into season 2 and beyond as an addition to the cast we enjoy seeing, because I think she's very interesting.
I could see her being like, okay, well, let's do it your way. Let's forget this big, trying to be a big law firm or whatever fancy. Let's go back to being small, like,
Yeah. Let's
maybe.
go back to fucking over horrible landlords who are
Hmm.
trying to evict their tenants.
I wonder if Cherry was maybe part of the old stuff.
He absolutely was.
Yeah, because they've made use of him as best they could as this like person that knew who Matt was or found out who Matt was. Now is kind of like trying to keep him on the straight and narrow. Um, Plays investigator for him to help them. Basically, gave them something to use because Matt's not meant to be doing that himself. And then obviously we're at the point now where he's
Oh,
kind of not needed.
that role was definitely supposed to be like the Mahoney replacement role of
Mm,
the guy who was a police officer and doesn't agree with what Matt's doing, but he kind of gets it at least, and he's
yeah.
trying to keep him. So, like, don't he's not a carbon copy of Brett, but that he was definitely supposed to kind of fill that slot.
Mm,
And I just don't think they stuck the landing. I'm not saying he would have been this unenjoyable in the original version, but I don't think the version in the original version could have worked in the way they're trying to edit this story
yeah, it's
and been the same. So they've had to kind of limit his role
mm,
slightly, which has just made him kind of almost feel like an obstacle in and of itself rather than a part of the
yeah,
supporting cast.
yeah, I know what you mean. Were you I don't know if you were like me when Fisk and Vanessa were in Red Hook and he's taking her to that place. And I was like, as soon as like I've got something to show you, I was like, this isn't where and then we get the shot of them walking down the stairs. I'm like, oh, I almost sort of it knew in that moment. I was like, Vanessa's gonna be the one to kill Adam. And like the way that kind of played out.
Well, this is the beginning of the setup for the episode, right? Obviously, at the end of the
Mm,
episode, it's revealed that Vanessa was the one who ordered the
yes.
hit on
Sorry, yes.
Foggy.
Mm,
So basically, what this helps us piece together is Fisk has tried to be a better man for Vanessa.
yep.
But Vanessa is not interested in the better man. She's interested in Wilson Fisk, the man she fell in love with.
She
So
wants
he's out here
Kingpin.
trying to be better. Yeah, he's out here trying to be better. She has no interest in that. When he was gone, she was trying to kill Foggy and Matt and Karen so that
He'd come
the
back.
deal they made at the end of Daredevil season 3 would essentially not matter anymore,
Mm-hmm.
and he could come back and they could rule New York together. What she's had no fucking interest in any of this.
Mm.
She just wants the man she married. It's like the beautiful dark twist on like, oh, bad man falls in love with woman and makes him a better person because she wants him to be a better person.
Mm.
It's the complete fucking opposite. She's like, no,
Well,
I want to stoop down to your level. I don't want you to come up to mine.
this is sort of what we've kind of obviously they've been doing the therapy thing, and we think they're trying to work it because like she's upset that he left because it's because of just as simple as that. But it is like you say, is she was upset because he left and is because he's trying to change who he is. As soon as like she came out and he's like he essentially revealed like, look, I am actually still Kingpin. Look, I'm keeping a guy prisoner. To her, she then goes, oh, you haven't changed. You are still
You're
my
still there. It's all good.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're still there. This proves that to me. So then she's like, kills him because it's like that. By doing that, she knows she's like, oh, we are like that gap is fixed, and she realizes she still has her Kingpin. Um,
Exactly.
I am
He's also got a
so,
little bit bigger this episode as well. Did
and
you
he got,
notice that
mm-hmm,
that side on shot down in the cage? He looked a bit bigger. They also zoomed in on his hands a little bit. You saw like there were more sausagey fingers than they had been previously. I like that they're building him back up to be the big,
and then
big greedy dude
they
again.
put him in his white suit at the end.
I also loved the use of him in the white suit, Heather in a white dress, and Vanessa in a red dress.
Yes, I for sure was like, Bullseye is gonna look at them from behind, and I thought he was gonna shoot Heather because he thinks
Oh,
that's
really?
Vanessa. Like he was gonna
Oh.
see Fisk dancing with someone and shoot Heather, not realizing. But well, we'll just go to it. Like I was not expecting Matt to jump in front of uh Fisk and take a bullet.
Here's the thing, obviously Matt doesn't believe that anyone should like die outright.
Obviously.
He wants so I'm not surprised that he tried to save Fisk's life. I'm really interested to see how Fisk plays this. Does he like try and be all buddy buddy and like visit him in the hospital and go, "Thank you so much for saying when I was a boy."
Well,
Like, is that what he goes, or does he just like pretend that Matt didn't do anything and he accidentally got hit?
yeah, it's gonna be because obviously it was the tension was rising to this whole. Matt had realized it was Vanessa and was confronting her
I
on the dance floor, and Fisk was basically teasing to Heather, is like, he's Matt's the sort of person, like maybe he's clearly hiding something from you. Basically being like, he's the fucking Daredevil, but he's not going to tell you. I know his secret. I loved the whole, and I've seen many people online pick up on this, but when Matt visited Bullseye, he said to him, "Oh, because that's what good men do. They defend their worst enemies." And then Bullseye watches him take a bullet for essentially Matt's worst enemy and prove Bullseye right. Which this is back to the like the writers and stuff. They've just with this episode have cooked.
I'm
Also,
so incredibly excited for the finale.
also in this finale, BB finally revealed her card that she is playing the long game. Like we kind of
She
presumed back in
wants
the
revenge
beginning.
for her uncle.
We thought back when they first met, like she's playing some angle. We just weren't 100% sure. But like that
Yeah.
reveal, and then the police commissioner guy also kind of willing to play into this.
Yeah, he's just seen like it was one thing for the dirty cops to be under Fisk, but seeing the dirty cops just assault someone and go, "You can't do anything about it," definitely made him when it's like, right, the rules aren't going to help me here. I need public opinion to shift. I need the world to find out that these guys are the scummiest cops we've got, the cops that they worry are going to answer their 911 call, and that Fisk, your man who's been in prison for being a corrupt motherfucker, is the only person they report to.
Yeah, it's this was the first time we've seen them really showing their true colors, and also like there was comments about their use of violence as being like reported a lot, like excessive use of force. So it's obviously building. I'm intrigued to see because this is the thing. Building to this finale, Matt's just told Vanessa he knows she did it. Vanessa and Fisk are the sort of people to try and get rid of Matt.
But he's just saved a bullet for the mayor. It makes it a lot harder, doesn't it?
Yeah, but if he can somehow twist it into hunting Daredevil, then that's like, does the task force get involved because they only report to Fisk? They don't have to like, so. And then does he pin it on the task force for they've messed up. They've killed the person that saved me to try and stop using them. Like there's many layers at play here.
And we know Frank is back next week.
Mm.
Based on footage.
So does Matt call in Frank to help, or does Frank get wind and it just happens to cross paths with him? There's going to be a gunfight or fight of some sort, I feel.
I'm very curious, but knowing that season 2 is already well underway, and we've discussed it a few times, I don't think we're getting
Oh no, this is gonna be a cliffhanger ending.
An overt conclusion here. It'll be more a case of one door gets closed over and another door gets opened up, but not shut or opened for sure.
I wonder if part of the end of the season, does it include Heather finding out Matt's like secrets? Do we
Think Heather
think?
dies.
Do we still think she dies?
I think so.
Because it is difficult. Because like they had their little bit of back and forth again this episode about in a mask, and she was like, "Oh well, I saved myself. It wasn't Daredevil." And you just think he stood right there, and you're like, imagine being Matt and be like, "Excuse me, I fucking saved your life."
Yeah. Like, he's a good Catholic boy who has very strong opinions on killing someone. You're lucky he's not making you feel bad for shooting a man in cold blood.
Yeah, true.
Maybe not cold blood, lukewarm
Yeah.
blood.
But like,
Um,
what an episode.
very, very interesting. I also enjoyed that Kingpin clearly understands Matt's powers a little bit. Like when they're on the dance when he's like
Yes.
whispering, knowing that only Matt can hear him. Really enjoyed that.
I also love the cut between Matt telling Heather of how much of a monster he is, and then it cut to Fisk on the dance floor blowing kisses. It was just like such a funny like mirror shot of what was going on.
Yeah, a juxtaposition
Yeah.
moment for sure. Phenomenal episode. Once again, I don't just want this to come across as ragging on the old creative team and praising the new creative team. You do have to understand what the old creative team were doing has to be butchered a little bit to fit into the new creative vision. So it's very easy to just go, "Oh, that was dreadful," but it might, that thing that you didn't like might have worked a lot better in the original narrative.
Well, yeah, this is the thing with any situation, whether it's like trilogies where a director changes halfway through, like where there's any change of leadership on a story, essentially, the old stuff merging with new stuff is always going to be messy because you've got two completely different perspectives trying to tell two different stories but using the same stuff essentially. So like
Exactly.
some stuff's going to feel messy. I will say, like, one of the last things on the directors and that, but Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead, the two that have like are running this show, I hadn't realized they did Moon Knight and Loki.
Yeah.
I kind of knew they did Loki, but I hadn't realized that they'd done.
I believe they did Loki season 2. I don't think they worked on season
Loki
1.
season 2. But
Which,
like,
if anything, is more of a feather in their cap.
yeah, like I'm now like, oh, no wonder there's so much use of color when Loki used it constantly, and Moon Knight is shot so well with like the camera stuff they did to show the different personalities.
We have our issues with Moon Knight, but overall it was very creative and very fun, and that's definitely coming across as being largely down to them. And yeah, their use of color, their use of cinematography, it feels alive is the best way to describe it, I think.
Honestly, would be kind of okay if they are given full reins of like bringing the defender, like bring Luke Cage back, bring Jessica Jones back, like let them take this recipe, like this format, and give it to the rest of them. Because I think of the colors used with like Luke Cage.
And you know what? If they're going to be brave enough to finally give Daredevil his logo, I want them to bring Iron Fist back because I need to see Iron Fist actually get a suit up.
Like, I'm okay for now that them just having like the reins for this new MCU TV and is just focused on these bringing the Netflix show guys back for now.
Yeah. I think there was definitely a big element of understanding what worked at Netflix. How do we adapt that to work for what we need and then go? And it's okay if some shows don't fit that mold. If they want to do like a Ms. Marvel type show, maybe that doesn't fit the more Netflix style. But stuff like Moon Knight definitely would.
Yes.
So there's definitely some work to be done there for
it's
sure.
Even like, it didn't necessarily have to be like the Netflix style. They can still, they'd be still great for bringing in this color and this comic booky vibe to any
absolutely.
show.
Absolutely.
Now, our favorite streaming service.
Yes. No matter what, Dropout will always be the #1 streaming service in our heart.
I mean, just before we get into the actual thing we want to talk about from them, the way they raised prices.
Yeah, if you're already paying this price, you're going to keep paying this price if you just lock it in and you'll be fine.
Yeah, you can You can,
And
as
they're
long as
so
you.
reasonably priced in the first place. Let's be
Oh
clear
yeah,
here.
it's so reasonably priced. Like they'll let you lock it in for the next 12 months, which I think ultimately after that 12 months you probably will end up on the new. But
You get
that's fair.
a year at the old
Yeah,
price.
and then also the amount that it's gone up is such a small amount. When he also mentioned that their budgets on all the shows have like tripled.
And you can see that in the
Yeah,
first episode of Game Changer,
yes.
hilariously.
But then it's like the the way that they announced it with Sam, and like we joke that Sam is like the only CEO that we actually love.
When the CEO downfall comes, I will be leading the charge. I can promise you that. Sam Reich, I can't guarantee him a pass. He will be given a very fair trial though.
I mean, him throwing the shade at all the other streaming services was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
But yes, Gamechangers is back. One of our favorite shows from Dropout.
It's a masterpiece. It is something that I genuinely don't believe can be beaten. Like in the game show genre, it is absolutely number one. There is nothing on its level. It's a
Yeah, that,
masterpiece.
and it's such a. I can't think. I can think of similar ideas, but not quite the same. Like I feel it's very unique for a game show idea of literally every episode is completely different.
Yeah, there's nothing like it in that regard. The closest you can maybe get is something like
That's
Taskmaster,
what I was thinking.
but
It's
even then, it's only different because it needs to be.
yeah,
Like
it,
it's not different in the
and it's
same
not,
way.
and it's yeah, it's just different challenges, not necessarily different complete premises for an episode.
Exactly.
But we've
I will
known.
say,
Well,
go on.
I was gonna say, going into the season, we know that every season's got bigger and more
Yes,
outlandish. Um, this might be up
I
there as my top two in my top three favorite Game Changer episodes.
I think it's got a real argument to be made about being episode number one. When you consider the premise, the execution,
My
it absolutely is up there. I do think nostalgia and monologues
well,
from other
my
episodes
only other
really.
one of like premise was my other two, just to put them out there, would be the escape room because
Masterpiece of an episode.
it was so that was the first one where like it you could tell it caught them off guard.
Mm-hmm.
The other would be what the Sam says, but I kind of group them just as a collective because there's been three of them now. But like the
Sam
Sam
says is
says one,
phenomenal.
oh, I
But
agree.
I will give you that Escape the Green Room walked, so 1 year later could run.
Yes, I agree.
But anyway, to get onto the concept of this episode,
Sorry.
the same three contestants, Vic, Lou,
Lou.
and Jacob,
Yep.
were on the last episode of the last season,
Which was Sam
and
says
then
free.
yeah, and at the end of that episode, or sorry, the day after that episode, they were asked to come back.
Same day, I think.
No, they said it was the next morning. They were
Oh,
like, I
did they?
barely slept and I'm severely hungover. And they were given a dossier of 15 tasks that they had a year to complete.
Mm-hmm.
Phenomenal, instantly off the back.
Yep.
Especially when like you hear them like going through it as they're leaving. He's like, what do you mean you got to collect hair?
Well, they're like handed these things, and they're like you say, Lou's like, I'm been chugging coffee to try and sober up. Like they are still in. No, I do think it was the same day because they're still in the same outfits.
Yeah, no, I think they went out partying afterwards because it was the end of the season. So I think they were literally like been
Oh,
partying all night.
oh yeah, possibly then that, or it was like really late in the evening and they'd done this. But they're reading through them as Sam walks home and goes, "You have 1 year to do these," and they're like, "Wait, what?" And they're just the comments like Jacob's just like, "You're a sick man," and then the hair thing, and they're walking out, and then we cut to 1 year later.
Just so good. Some of these challenges were in and of themselves funny, but the fact that you had a year to work on some of them allowed them to go to ridiculous extremes. Like Lou just went, "I'm going balls to the wall on 10 challenges and like binning off 5 of them." Jacob just chose random. Like Jacob, I think put the most even amount of effort in.
I would agree.
And then Vic was just like, I'm going to fuck with Sam in ways
Well,
he couldn't even dream of.
Vic does what Vic always does, which is, I'm going to find the loophole angle at this question that makes Sam question, is this allowed?
My favourite was the Craigslist round. You've got like Lou, I got a jet ski, and then you've got Jacob, I got a bike, and then Lou's like, but what about second jet
Two
ski?
jet skis.
Phenomenal. And then Vic's just like, I own your house now.
Yeah, I have the deed to your house. And then Sam looks and he's like, you forged my signature. It's like, this is clearly a very illegal thing that she's just done, which is obviously probably in partnership with his wife.
And his wife was clearly involved in so much of this.
Yeah. The fucking the one of them, the challenge which was
the candid cab right at the end, yeah.
Best candid of Sam, and the three of them go, play the footage, and it's a camera had been hidden in his home for several months. And
it was like 6 months based on the timestamps by the look of it.
Any normal situation, that is a police report and a lawsuit. Because Sam knows these people, it's still creepy, but also fucking hilarious that he didn't notice.
He's kind of brought it on himself, is the beauty of it. But I saw someone online talking about it, and this episode fundamentally changes Gamechanger.
I saw this as well, and
because previously we, as the viewer, didn't need to worry about anything, right? We would go into an episode, we would find out the premise of the episode about the same time as the contestants, sometimes earlier, and then we just get to laugh at the people who are being played with by Sam Reich.
Yeah.
But now, every time a cast member does something weirder than normal, there's going to be a part of our brain that's just like, is this a game changer?
So basically it was like, we would, our first experience of anything from Game Changers was, we saw the episode and we're like, oh, how Sam fucked with them. And we know that the contestants have probably gone through that year being like, Sam's on set today, is this a Game Changers thing? Like, there's an episode of Brennan's D&D little talk, podcasty thing.
Adventuring Pot, is it?
Yes, I think so. And he had Sam on, and at one point Sam was like, I've organized something to do on this episode. I've got almonds. And then Brennan's like, this isn't changing into an episode of Game Changers, is it? Like, he thought he'd commandeered his own show. But like you say, now, in this episode, and for this year, one of the challenges was get a SoundCloud profile with the most followers. Lou started his own band for this challenge, but then ultimately became so fucking popular with his fans that they actually just became a band for the year and have put out an album. The guy that they got to mix the album didn't know that this was, he was like, oh, it's been great. I got to work on their album this year. It's still great. Didn't know that it all stemmed from a Game Changer challenge.
People will have gone to see that Vic play.
Yes.
Because it's like, oh, Vic's on Dropout. She's hilarious. Let's go see what wacky shit she's doing. And now they've watched and they're like, okay, this was fucking weird, but we knew this. It was Vic. What did we expect? And then they see this episode of Game Changer and they're like, wait, I was fucking at that. Like, yeah, the merch. Fucking insanity.
I loved that Vic was like, we shut this off at 3 hours, clearly thinking she's lost. And then she sold the most by a mile.
Well, they sell a lot of pins on a Dropout.
Well, and it was also, you got to remember, it was for a giveaway. So, like, people, if it's an entrance into a giveaway, those sorts of things sell in the masses. Yeah, it's flipped it now that anything we see throughout the year that is
out of character even a little bit.
Or like something that like, oh, Lou's doing a stand-up show. Is that for Game Changers?
Yeah, there is an absolute element of we can't trust anything we see from the Dropout cast anymore, because what if we're being fucked with by Sam Reich inadvertently?
Yeah, which I love because that adds to the Game Changer thing.
Absolutely.
Do you know what was funny though? The whole way through, because obviously, like we said at the beginning, this is the same three people right after they'd filmed Sam Says Free. There was a part of me, because Lou was in Sam Says 1 and 3, Jacob was in 2 and 3, and Vic was in 3. So they all 3 of them have been in, other than Vic, had almost been in multiple episodes of Sam Says. I was so ready for that final moment before they flipped it on Sam himself for Sam to go, now these have all been great submissions. And Lou, you're winning on points. But I'm afraid I'm going to take all those points off you all because I never said Sam Says. And like,
that would have been
if he'd flipped it and they'd done all that for a year and then they were like, I never said Sam Says, so none of these count, they would have lost their mind. Like, it would have been evil, but it would have been great. But I do think there's going to be a Sam Says 4 in this season.
I'm genuinely concerned because Brennan's done some podcasts, he's always on podcasts, and he's spoken about this season's a bit fucky. I want to know, like, if this is how we're starting the season, what the fuck did Sam do to Brennan this time? Like, there were rumours that apparently Brennan doesn't let the green room door close while he's in there anymore. While he's in there, that door is not allowed to close.
I also want to know if Brennan now, if he's just like in the shower and has a monologue for, does he write them down in preparation?
Just in case.
Does he just do that thing where like he's just constantly brainstorming monologues because he's like, maybe today's the day I get screwed over by Sam and I need to be ready to hit back.
It's just, there must be a genuine fear, especially after other people heard about like the green room episode, because that was the first one that really pushed the envelope like to an insane level.
That come on that no.
Yeah. Like, are you just worried now? Like, you've been told you're in a Game Changer episode next week. They'll be told that's what they're on the call sheet for most of the time. Are you just in your shower that morning, just checking for hidden cameras? Like, is it already started? Is he already here?
I'd have been on edge. Like, if they're like, oh yeah, so we're going to be shooting Game Changers these few months. And
you just don't sleep well for them months.
But it's like, oh, Brennan, you're going to be like, and they probably have an idea of who they want in for the season, like on each episode already. So they probably already warned, like telling people in advance for scheduling and stuff. As soon as you get that call, if that was me, I'm like, okay, everything from now on, I am over analyzing. Who's this Uber driver that just picked me up? Who's this like person that's just, like, I wouldn't trust anything.
Insanity.
I am intrigued brilliant to see, because we know Sam loves fucking with Brennan. Like, we've had the like Brennan can't be right. Yeah, we've had the points for coming second. Like, how is he going to? Because there's going to be an episode with Brennan on. It's like, what is the premise that is really fucking with him?
Gonna jive him.
I will say also in this one, I loved when Jacob at one point was like, haha, I've turned into the rich CEO man. Just like completely flipped and played into the
Did you obviously, like, we're in the gaming sphere and we pay attention, so we know how insane Nvidia stock has been over the last 18 months.
Yes, he said
when
Nvidia,
he
I was
said,
like, oh my god.
I literally think he's like, so I did a little bit of research, have a look. I was like, and there's this company known as Nvidia, and Sam's face did what mine and your face did, and I went, Nvidia hit like $1 trillion valuation this year. Please tell me he put money in and got money out at the right time.
I was like, oh my god, he's won. And then I love Jacob. Jacob was one of my favorite ones. And I mean, I love Lou and stuff, but like, something that added to that was when he got the points and he went, can I just confirm that I got the most, I've won that, and those points are locked in? And Sam's like, yeah. And he's like, okay, now that I've got the points and I know that, I'm going to donate the winnings. Like, such a great thing to do. Like,
I've got a lot of love for Jacob Wysocki. He is absolute comedy. I've recently discovered he was in Pitch Perfect as well, the first one, which always fucks me up. So funny when I discovered that. When I discovered that, I literally went back to find the scenes, be like, wait, is that actually him? Brilliant. Lou's outfit, like from the first round with the outfits, I was like, oh shit, they've had so much time.
Well, it's like the watch from Lou's watch. I was like,
gorgeous. You could sell them and make money.
He started with the watch. I was like, oh, that's so big brain and creative. Like, that's such a cool thing to make. And then he rips off his clothes and he's like, this is the present. And I was like, what a man. what a man to just be like, fuck it. And then he does the augmented clothing, which obviously we've seen crop up over
Yeah.
the last year or so.
But so funny. That episode was great. The challenges were great. The ingenuity from each of the three contestants to try new things
Mm-hmm.
and the different approaches was phenomenal. Some of the weird shit they managed to make happen from like their connections,
Yeah.
like managing to get the fucking cardboard cutout sent all the way to Antarctica, is
Yeah.
objectively
Well,
hilarious.
purely
And
because
then
they
you've got
met
Jacob
someone at a
losing
show.
his mind because he's like, I've got to have won this. I went to the middle of fucking nowhere and sent you down to the depths of hell.
Do you know what's funny? When he was like, oh, and there's this ghost town, mining town, and there's one guy that lives there. I was like, I know what the fucking town this is because I remember on YouTube once recommended, I bought a ghost town in the fucking middle of LA nowhere or whatever. And I was like, oh, this is going to be that guy. And it was. But yeah, the chance of having someone at a show who's from the Antarctic, like is a chef at an Antarctic base, and then he's like, oh, can I send something to you? Just like fucking wild.
This episode proved in a multitude of ways that people are fucking awesome. Because the notion of someone going, can I just like send you a cardboard cutout and you can stick it somewhere up there? And they're like, absolutely send it right now.
Yeah.
Just brilliant. I love the idea as well that he was on Jimmy Kimmel working. All the celebrities, and he just panicked every time.
I mean, fair. Like, you don't want to be that guy on the show, do you? When
But
he's
like
just the
Dropout's
voice.
got big enough now that some of the celebrities on that are probably aware of it.
Yeah, but you also, you just don't, like, I can understand from Lou's point of view, you don't want to be that guy, like, you are part of the show, a celebrity comes in, you don't want to be like, can I have a selfie with you? Like, yeah, you don't want to be that guy, do you? But yeah, he could have had anyone if he'd done, if he had managed to play that.
So good. Brilliant episode. I will never stop recommending Dropout. It is the best value proposition of any streaming service. If you enjoy D&D, they've got D&D stuff. Gastronauts, me and Jenna recently watched the first episode of that. That's really good.
I've watched a couple
Food-based show. Actually is fucking brilliant. This Actually is something that I need to properly binge the fuck out of because it is such a me kind of show. Brilliant. So happy to have Game Changer back, and I can't wait to see what other fuckery Sam Reich has ready for us for the rest of the season.
Same. CinemaCon. We did a little wrap up, a mini wrap up last week because we were like
the
midway
big
through.
bits.
Yeah, and we were still kind of midway through the show, the event, or whatever. But we have the full list of announcements, which is very long. Obviously, some of these films and some of the things got announced aren't necessarily what our go-to stuff, so we'll like skim over some things, focus on the important things. So we'll kick off with Sony. We got a bunch of movies confirmed, and then we got some like extra focus on some of the other ones. So our movies confirmed. They've confirmed Resident Evil is getting a movie made. A film called Clara and the Sun. Don't know what that's on. Grand Gear, The Breadwinner, Jumanji 3. So I presume.
I did see about that. Yeah.
I presume The Rock's back for that. It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Your favorite man. Starship Troopers, which we'd
they're getting a new like reboot sequel thing.
The Legends of Zelda live action, which we talked about last week.
Is that being done with Sony?
Yep, that's part with Sony.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, Spider-Man Brand New Day got announced, which we talked about last week. And then The Beatles is getting a 4-film cinematic event.
Yeah, this is like wild. So they've cast the Beatles and they're going to do 4 biopics from like each Beatles perspective.
I think so.
It's kind of interesting. I'm not sure how well that's going to do in cinemas. That's a big money and time commitment.
If the first one hits, then it'll do great. If the first one flopped, like you kind
of. Is the plan not for them all to release at like the same time?
Oh, maybe. Though? I don't know.
I thought the plan was for them all to release on like the same summer.
Oh, that would be a wild summer.
It's one of them ones where if them films are good, you're like, oh my god, that's
we need to go see the
a masterpiece. But if it's not good, you're like, oh, so I just can't get away from the fact this thing's going on and it sucks.
Some bigger looks was Karate Kid Legends. Got some extra scenes shown. We'd had the trailer come out the week before, or recently anyway. It's Jackie Chan. You've got
Ralph Macchio.
yes, back. It's just the next Karate Kid film. Another kid that needs to learn karate to save
Defend his honor.
his honor. Yeah. 28 years later, got a new trailer shown. They also showed some stills from 28 years later, The Bone Temple, which is going to be the 4th installment, and apparently the second of this 28 years later trilogy. I didn't
Oh,
know it was going
okay.
to be a trilogy.
I'd heard it was going to be a trilogy, but I wasn't quite sure because obviously 28 years later is the end of the 28 Days trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, how can you be the start of a trilogy and the end of a trilogy in the same film? Surely that just ends up making the entire thing a quintilogy.
I imagine they're going to, if going off this being called the Bone Temple, it's got to be like stories from other places that all ties together, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I'd assume so.
Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse obviously got some footage
Which was
shown.
one of my predictions.
Yeah, and a release
Apparently
date.
looks amazing.
Yeah, so we talked about it last week, but yeah, the footage shown, everyone said it looks visually stunning and somehow better than the last ones, and that
They've
is
been doing
why
more fuckery.
apparently that is why they had to delay, because they were pushing animation further. So I guess we wait and see how amazing this is going to look.
Big time.
Caught Stealing, which is going to be a heist thriller, had a trailer shown.
Ooh. I'm always a sucker for a heist film.
A Big Bold Beautiful Journey had a trailer shown. That's got Margot Robbie and Colin Farrell in it. I don't know. Goat, which is an animated film, stars Stephen Curry. It's an animated animal in sports. I'm going to guess basketball.
Okay.
Apparently, it's something he voices the main character, and I think he's been part of like getting it made, sort of thing. And then the last thing Sony showed was I Know What You Did Last Summer. Had a trailer.
Oh, of course, we're getting our reboot, aren't we?
Which is like horror film, obviously.
But
that was everything from Sony. Obviously, the big ones being the Spider-Man announcements for us. I mean, Karate Kid. Who doesn't like a bit of?
It'll be interesting to see how it does. A good Karate Kid film is very good, so if they've actually nailed this, it could be good. But I'm always a bit skeptical.
Yeah. Next, we've got Lionsgate. So they had a few announcements to start off with, and then we got into all the John Wick stuff. Paul Feig has signed a first look deal apparently for Lionsgate. I mean, fair. Luca, I'm going to butcher this last name, Guadagnino, is making a new adaptation of American Psycho.
Oh, I did hear about this.
Obviously, cult classic film at this point. We got Now You See Me 4 got announced.
Yeah, when Now You See Me 3 is like coming out later this year, and they announced Now You See Me 4.
How you can make 4 films out of this premise, I don't know, but we got 10 Fast and Furious films, so what can I say?
Valid.
Hurry Up Tomorrow, which is The Weeknd's film that he's been making.
Oh, okay.
That he is also starring in.
Oh, okay. This is one of the ones that could end up being decent, or you're like, oh my god, stick to music.
I would say I'm hopefully intrigued because of like how creative he's kind of been with his music videos and with his kind of music storytelling at times. I think he might be one of those that is like can kind of do both. We'll wait and see. The Strangers Chapter 2 was announced, which is an American horror film.
Okay.
And then we got into some of the more trailers and stuff shown. So we got Ballerina, which we mentioned last week. The John Wick spin-off.
Their big one that they did a lot of discussion about because that's coming out in like a couple of months.
It had a new trailer, and I think it's got a bit more exclusive footage shown alongside. John Wick Chapter 5 also got announced, which we mentioned last week. And apparently they're only back because they have a story they want to tell. So who knows with that one?
Wait
I
and
mean,
see.
if it's John Wick in hell fighting demons, I'm all in. So the
Going to
animated
re-kill all the people he already killed to make sure they go to super hell.
imagine. We're getting an animated John Wick prequel movie.
Yes.
So
Is it a
apparently,
partnership with Netflix?
oh, I don't
Or am I making that
know.
up?
Maybe, possibly. I don't know about that one. Um, I I found out it's so the prequel is it's based. The story is based on his mission that he did to get free of the high table and become retired, which is then obviously the first
How he
film.
earned his freedom.
Yeah, the first film is him being dragged back in, obviously. Um, so that could be quite cool. I mean, an animated John Wick in like more of an anime style or something would go hard.
Bear in mind how creative the action was in the films,
With
giving them
animated,
the freedom of animation could make
mm-hmm.
it kind of nuts.
Yeah. Kane, the new John Wick spin-off with Donnie Yen, returning as Kane, got announced, which will apparently be fusing some Hong Kong kung fu into the Wickverse, which honestly sounds like a great mix in my opinion. I know
Yeah.
you haven't seen the John Wick films, but
In
it
bits and
all
pieces.
goes
I'm
hand
aware
in
of the
hand.
action.
Yeah. Now You See Me, Now You Don't, which is the third film, got an extra trailer shown. Well, as we said, yeah, how they're milking this franchise, and good on them, I
Yeah, I
suppose.
mean the first one was good. I enjoyed the first one.
Yeah,
I don't know if I've seen the second one.
never saw the second one.
But hey, if they think there's something worth doing there, like you
I
said, they're
mean,
going to keep making
yeah,
Fast and Furious films. Give the magic people something to watch, I
yeah.
guess.
The Hunger Games, Sunrise on the Reaping. They showed an animated logo, which obviously got people of the Hunger Games franchise very excited. It's from the new book, the newest book I think that came out. If I
Which
remember.
is a prequel.
Yeah, it's based on
The newest book, the
Katniss's.
oldest part in the time.
Yeah, I think isn't it based around Katniss's mentor? Maybe I could be
Oh,
wrong,
Hamish.
possibly. But yeah, Hunger Games fans seem very excited about that one. Um, The Long Walk had a trailer shown. Now this is apparently based off the first story Stephen King wrote, which is like a
I think I
dystopian
saw something
horror.
about this.
If I did a quick Google, apparently it's like an annual holiday where teenagers have to walk a certain pace or they get shot. I could be wrong, but that might be the premise of what it is.
Thing, right? Stephen King is
But
phenomenal.
yeah, exactly.
As long as like they get the right people in to adapt it,
It could be very good.
it's probably going to be good.
Mm-hmm. That's what I thought when I saw that it was based on like Stephen King's first story. I was like, oh, this is probably going to be good. Good Fortune got a trailer shown. I'm not sure much about that. And Power Ballad got a trailer shown. And that wraps up Lionsgate. Warner Brothers had what I would probably say is the shortest amount of announcements, unfortunately, as we
Yeah.
would have loved many things from DC, but here we are.
Mm-hmm.
We did get the extended Superman trailer, which has now since been released, and we've seen. We both talked about it last week. It looks peak. All the visuals look great. The Fortress of Solitude looks great. The robots, it's all very cool. We're all very excited for this summer.
It's fucking awesome. There's nothing else that can really be said about it, is there?
The Brad Pitt F1 film had some footage shown, the first 10 minutes or something. As an F1 fan, it's one of those things where it's like, this could be very bad. Because as an F1 fan, you're like, oh, that's just doesn't work. That's not what F1 does or something. But the fact that last season he was like on the grid filming stuff at certain F1 races has like worked with Lewis Hamilton's helped advise on F1 stuff. Like they've put a lot of effort in. The trailer looks quite good. I'm optimistic for it. I think it could be quite a good little action F1 film.
it's one of them things, right? Anytime there's a film about something you know a lot about,
And a
it's gonna
sport.
piss you off. Like, if you're in software development, you see a hacker in a film and you're like, that's just not how that works.
Decrypting
If
crypto.
you are, yeah, if you're a doctor and you watch Grey's Anatomy, you're
Hmm.
probably like, that's just not how that happens. It's one of the ones where if you know too much about something, watching entertainment based around that can sometimes
Yeah.
be really bad. And then with sport, that gets even worse because you've got a lot of people who know a lot about sport,
Hmm.
and they're also the same people you're trying to sell the film to.
I would say there's that fine line of like, I'm going in knowing some stuff's going to be dramatized. It's like watching the Netflix Drive to Survive. Like, I know this isn't true to life. It's where it's like, as long as they don't go too far with it and don't go like really get things wrong, it's
Like
usually,
Tonya Harding people, like just
yeah,
fucking out
like,
of the legs.
but yeah, so that could be a good film. I'm kind of looking forward to that. One Battle After Another got an exclusive clip. That's the new Leonardo DiCaprio film that's coming out.
Oh, okay, got ya.
Final Destination Bloodlines had a clip shown. Still going. Still finding ways to cheat Death, and then Death comes back and catches up to them. I mean, you can.
It's
I
Final
mean, you can.
Destination.
Yeah, you can keep that going for as long as you want if you really want to.
As long as you've got some sick fuck who can come up with creative ways to kill people, you're golden.
And a reason
Like,
for why they've not escaped the curse, like.
you've got an entire generation of people who will not drive behind logs on a fucking motorway because of these films. Like that is cultural power.
Yep. A film called Weapons showed a first look.
Ooh,
I don't know
I
much
like
about that. It
guns.
stars Josh Brolin and Julia Garner.
Ooh,
So some good names. The Cat in the Hat is an animated film that's coming out. An
okay.
unfinished trailer was shown, which I thought was an interesting
So it's like
terminology.
very early then.
I think there was parts of the trailer that were obviously earlier stages of animation. Apparently, looks kind of fun. Obviously, it's going to be obviously a bit more of a kids animated film, I imagine. But Cat in the Hat's great franchise. The Bride got a trailer shown, which is an American musical monster film, apparently.
An American musical monster film.
Yeah. There was
I
quite a
assume
few
based on the Bride of
horror.
Frankenstein.
Maybe I didn't. Uh, I didn't look up
And
deeply
if it's
into that
called The
one.
Bride and it's a horror film, I'm going to assume it's The Bride of Frankenstein.
Possibly. But like, there was quite a few horror focused or thriller films announced at CinemaCon. I will say.
Yes, it is based on The Bride of Frankenstein.
Okay.
Christian Bale, Maggie Gyllenhaal, got a bit of a cast.
Okay.
Skarsgård, Penelope Cruz. It's being directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal. She's not starring in it.
Okay.
Fair enough.
But that wrapped up Warner Brothers, as I said, quite a short one compared to some of the other ones. Which, hey, maybe
It's what it is.
DC's saving that stuff for San Diego Comic Con this year.
So I only got one prediction for Warner Brothers correct. I guessed a new Superman look, which I'm going to count, even though it's just an extended version of the trailer. We didn't get any MonsterVerse films or anything.
No, and I'm trying to remember what else I predicted, but I can't remember off the top of my head. We got Universal is next up. So they announced How to Train Your Dragon 2, the live action.
Okay.
It is coming June 11th, 2027.
Cool.
Wicked for Good, the second
Wicked
film,
Part 2.
Got a trailer shown.
Oh, they had a trailer ready to go.
Yes.
Cool.
Jurassic World Rebirth apparently opened with a live orchestra playing the theme tune, which I think is pretty cool.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
And then
especially like the Jurassic Park music is fucking
exactly.
iconic.
And showed some new footage. With one of the clips apparently was very focused on that guy trapped in the tank that we kind of got a flash of in the trailer. Apparently, it was said that or they said on stage, they have made an effort to get back to the scare factor of Jurassic films with this one,
Good.
which I think both of us obviously enjoyed them, and we're somewhat intrigued by the trailer for this new one. It kind of looked good. Them
It's the
confirming,
first one since they relaunched it with Chris Pratt that I've seen the trailer for and gone, oh.
yeah, if
So,
they're getting back to that like scare jump scare factor of the first like
mhm.
couple, then I think it'll be good. Him, which is the Jordan Peele
Yeah, this
produced,
seems like a really
got
interesting comic concept.
some teaser footage shown. Apparently, the footage which kicks off with a young football player training, having a little training montage, has a pretty tough head-on collision, and then it completely flips to very weird cultist vibes.
So something like a young football player who gets hurt goes to like a retired ex-pro's like compound to get healthy, and it's a horror film. And I'm like, you know what? That sounds awesome. Jordan Peele fucks with me,
Mm,
right? Because like when I think of Jordan Peele, I think of Kay and Peele,
yes.
arguably one of the funniest skit comedy duos to ever
Yep.
exist.
Yep.
And then it's like, oh, what does Peele do now? He makes some of the most unique and terrifying horror films the world's seen in like 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
He feels like the only person in the horror space that is genuinely trying to find new
News.
and scary things.
Yeah. New stories to tell.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm so in on the idea of like the first 20 minutes of this film feels like sports young sports star, like typical, like having a bit of a training montage, everything's going well, and then it just completely flips to like horror. um yeah, sounds interesting.
Hmm.
Megan 2.0 got footage shown, which I'm guessing,
Yeah.
I don't know much about the first Megan film.
So it was like a horror film, but this one apparently isn't. Megan isn't the bad guy in this one, by the sounds of it. Like the killer robot's been like reprogrammed. So
Yeah.
like almost like a Terminator vibe. Like in the first one, Terminator's the bad guy. In the second one, he's like, "No, I'm on your side now." I think they might be going for that kind of a
Well,
idea.
so was shown later on, but there's another film called Soulmate that had some
Okay.
footage shown, which is a spin-off from Megan, and
Oh.
was mention of a different character going like full Terminator mode. So it probably plays into the similar concept, but the fact they're doing spin-offs is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Must have done better than I realised. I'm not that plugged
yeah.
into the horror
No,
world. I must be
neither of
honest.
us are we? The Bad Guys 2 got a new trailer, which is that
Is the
animated
animated one was like
Mission Impossible style
yeah,
with the
that
wolf
first one
and the
did really
shark.
well, didn't it?
Yeah. So that's got a second new trailer for the second one. Nobody 2 had a trailer premiered. Don't know much about the first Nobody one. It
So the
stars Bob
Nobody,
Odenkirk.
yeah. So he was doing that while he was also doing Better Call Saul,
Right.
and that film actually saved his life
Oh.
because he was getting in shape for that film when he
Oh.
had his heart attack,
Oh, so he was
and the
in
doctor
good
said
health
if
for it.
you wouldn't have like got in better shape,
Yeah.
this heart attack would have killed you.
Damn.
So it's like an action film. I think about
Yeah.
like a retired CIA dude who
Yeah.
like gets roped back in.
Basically, John Wick.
Yeah, a John Wick, an
Bit more comedy.
Equalizer,
Yeah.
like that kind of a vibe.
Five Nights at Freddy's 2 had a little short
Mm-hmm.
teaser shown. The Black Phone 2 had footage shown, another
Ooh.
horror film that apparently stars Ethan Hawke.
Oh, okay.
So many horror films.
Mm. It's only
The
ones that make money anymore.
Phonition Scheme, I think I've said that right, which is the next
Omission screen.
Scheme,
Oh, okay. Wes
the next
Anderson.
Wes Anderson film, had a first look. Yeah, apparently looked very typical of a Wes Anderson film.
Wes Anderson is, whether you like him or not, he's one of very few directors that you can see a still from his film and know it is a Wes Anderson film.
And then the last thing that Universal showed was Bugonia, which stars Emma Stone. I think something about like two conspiracy theorist guys like kidnap someone, like some sort of thriller, I imagine. But yeah,
Okay.
that was Universal. I mean, we guessed. I remember I predicted How to Train a Dragon stuff, and we
I was
guessed
all in
Jurassic
on
World.
Odyssey, Peel, and
Oh yeah,
Spielberg.
Odyssey. Yeah, and I think I said Jurassic World stuff
Yeah.
as well. So I mean, we did quite well for Universal with our predictions. Uh, Amazon is next, and this is the first time that Amazon have been at CinemaCon.
Yeah.
They had a few announcements. They had Masters of the Universe, which is a live action film. This is the
He-Man
He-Man.
gang.
Yes. They showed a little sizzle reel showing He-Man grabbing his iconic sword. Obviously, it stars Nicholas Galtazine, Idris Elba, Jared Leto, bunch of other stars, studded cast, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Apparently, all has looks very 80s accurate costumes for the
Oh,
He-Man stuff.
really?
Like they've apparently gone full in on it. So
Okay.
that could actually be quite a good one.
I
I'm
have
not.
some bad news though. I've just
Oh
searched it, and Jared Leto is apparently cast as Skeletor. So, eh,
yeah.
eh. Stop casting that man. He is bad.
I, I know they'll probably recreate the iconic memes, so we'll see how that goes. Project Hail Mary had footage shown. This is a sci-fi film about a school teacher turned astronaut, which is
Oh,
sounds interesting.
it does.
Um, there's the one like line I'd seen written about the footage shown was there's a line he says where he's reporting from must have been reporting from space or whatever. And he's like, oh, we found an alien. It's not the body exploding kind, because that was a big worry at first. Obviously
Oh,
making
so it's a
joke,
bit of a comedy.
possibly a bit of comedicness to it.
Oh, okay.
I Yeah, I don't know much about that.
I'm down.
Variety, which was had some footage shown. This stars Anne Hathaway, based on
Okay.
a thriller novel. Apparently, don't know too much about that. After the Hunt had footage shown. This stars Andrew Garfield, Io
Oh, I heard
uh,
about this one.
Edeberry,
Yeah, so this is about
one of
like
our
some
favorite.
drama.
So yeah, it's about basically a professor of a school or college and gets caught up in like cancel culture, but obviously
Oh.
as more comes out, the story becomes more and it's like the story around that, I
Oh,
think.
is it like the for want of a better word, the drama around deciphering what actually happened type ideal?
Yeah, and I think it's obviously the professor. The student goes to one of their professors, confesses about something another professor did. He obviously then denies
Mm.
it, and then there's all the messiness that obviously comes with that, I would imagine. But I mean,
Okay.
Andrew Garfield and Ao Edeberry, we
Good
both,
actors.
yeah, we both love them. Mercy got an extended trailer shown. This is Chris Pratt's sci-fi thriller detective film.
Okay.
Don't know too much about that. Crime 101 got a first look. This stars Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Halle Berry, and Barry Cogan.
Okay.
Apparently, it's
Interesting.
the typical like bank heist or heist film, I think.
Oh, it looks like it might be a little bit like what do you call it? What was the one that Fast and Furious ripped off? With Patrick Swayze and Keanu Reeves. You know the one where they do like the extreme. What is it? Daybreak? No, Breaking Point.
Hmm.
Nor is it Point Break. Point Break. That's what I'm thinking of.
Okay.
I think it's that kind of a vibe where you got police officers chasing a bank robber.
Possibly, but I mean, quite a stacked cast again.
It is.
Um,
That is a box office cast for sure.
Is God Is had a trailer shown. Don't know too much about
Okay.
that. And
Is
then
it based on a play?
possibly, I'm trying to remember what I read now.
Interesting. Twin sisters are ordered by their bedridden mother to kill their abusive father.
Oh.
Interesting.
And then the last thing that Amazon had was 3 Bags Full, a sheep detective movie.
Yeah, I heard
Starring
about
Hugh
this.
Jackman and Emma Thompson.
Yeah,
Apparently,
so is this actually live action? Or
I
are they...
think so, and I think it's quite a comedy of
Emma Thompson, Hugh Jackman... This cast is ridiculous.
I think it's something along the lines of like sheep farmer found dead, then the sheep help them solve it or something. I mean, Hugh Jackman often does some odd roles, but then smashes them. So
I mean, you know my feelings on Emma Thompson.
yeah,
If she thinks it's worth doing, we'll give her a chance.
sounds just off the title alone sounds very interesting.
Uh-huh.
So we've got Paramount and Disney left.
Uh-huh.
Paramount kicked off by just announcing some future movies that were mentioned that will be coming. We had Children of Blood and Bone, which I'm not too sure on. Heart of the Beast. An untitled Trey Parker, Matt Stone, and Kendrick Lamar musical.
That's the South Park dudes and Kendrick Lamar working on an animated musical.
Okay.
Which has got people buzzing. It's been rumoured for a little while, and it got confirmed that they're working on it.
Okay.
So, like, a South Park comedy with a Kendrick Lamar backing track.
Yeah, that could be...
There's reasons to be a bit excited.
Considering how political he can be with his artistry, that could be fun. Sonic the Hedgehog 4 got announced. Scream 7. The Legends of Aang, The Last Airbender movie, which I'm pretty sure is the animated version having a movie. And then Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem 2. Mouthful of a title. I wonder if the second part of that will be changed as it gets closer.
I would imagine it will. So I got Sonic 4 and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Mm-hmm.
Was there also a Running Man trailer?
Airbender. So these were just mentioned.
These were just announcements. Okay.
Yeah. We got Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning had a trailer.
That was a big part of what they're talking about. Obviously, that is a huge film.
Yeah, I think they showed the plane stunt again with him hanging from the biplane. Smurfs got a trailer shown. This is the Beyonce led one or something, or Rihanna, one of the two.
Yeah, I think it's Rihanna, not Beyonce. Unless they've relaunched it again.
No, probably Rihanna then. I'm getting it the wrong way around.
2025, yeah, Rihanna plays Smurfette.
SpongeBob is getting another movie. This Search for the SquarePants.
I kind of fuck with that. Is that crazy?
A first look was shown. I mean, I'm sure that'll have comedic SpongeBob, the usual. A film called Roofman had a trailer shown. This is Channing Tatum's new film where he robs
this is based on a true story. This is based on a true story.
So the thing I saw is it says it's based on a true story, and then in brackets it said, but told from a liar's perspective. So I think there's a play on the whole, like...
But so this was a famous story about a dude who, after getting out of prison, I don't know what he was in prison for, but he got out of prison, and he couldn't find a way to get any work, so he broke into a Toys R Us and lived in the walls for a year.
So yeah, I think he robbed McDonald's from the roof, possibly what got him in prison. Then he ends up in a Walmart apparently for this film. Same idea.
Insane. So yeah, that's one of the ones that's I remember when it happened, people were like, surely this will be made into a film one day. It's ridiculous. So clearly that day is here.
Your most anticipated film, The Running Man.
We got a Running Man trailer.
Showed exclusive footage. I don't know.
Oh no, not exclusive. Make it elusive. I want to see it.
But it probably was only short footage. Whether that comes out eventually, I don't know. And then The Naked Gun had its trailer revealed, which is the new Liam Neeson, Pamela Anderson.
I saw this trailer. I'm so fucking down. Are you aware of what The Naked Gun was?
No.
Okay, so The Naked Gun was an 80s comedy spoof franchise similar to like
Right.
Airplane.
Right.
So I believe it was the same guy who was in Airplane. You know, like surely you can't be serious. It's like I am serious, and don't call me Shirley. That style of comedy.
Okay.
Um, and they are rebooting it with Liam Neeson playing the main character's son. And obviously he's taking over his father's legacy. The reason the Naked Gun films have a bit of a weird history is after his very successful NFL career, a running back by the name of O.J. Simpson became an actor and was in the Naked Gun films. And when coming back from filming one of the Naked Gun films, his ex-wife and new boyfriend were killed, and he was arrested and charged with the murders.
But the glove never fit.
And so that's always been like a little bit of drama around like the Naked Gun films, and like almost for worse reasons, how they're still remembered by a lot of people is the fact that O.J. Simpson was in them. And in this trailer, you've got a very stupid scene of a little girl goes into a bank, and then it's Liam Neeson, which is very much that style of comedy. But then after that bit, it's got him crying to a portrait of his dad. He's like, I won't fail you, daddy. And then it pans out and you see everyone in the police precinct is like crying to a photo of their own parent. And then it gets to a police officer in front of an O.J. Simpson picture. And he's not crying at all. He just looks at the camera and goes like that. And everyone saw that and they're like, oh, they might actually cook.
They're going to poke fun at themselves. That's quite good.
So that's got a lot of people who enjoyed them films a little bit exciting. They're like, oh, this could actually, we might be back. Silly cop films for the win.
It has been a while since we've had a silly cop film.
But
that wrapped up Paramount, and then we finish off with Disney. The Thunderbolts had new footage shown, and this was after they turned up to the venue in character with the Red Guardian driving a red limousine, and then kind of turning up drunk as they stumbled their way onto stage.
A lot of people fell for this of them actually turning up drunk, like they weren't professional actors working for Disney. I'm like, guys, you sweet summer child, I have a bridge to sell you.
And also, it's like, as soon as they mentioned each other as their character names, you should have been like, oh, this is a bit.
Yes,
but I think that just sums up all the marketing around this film.
The marketing for this film has been very interesting. I do have to give them that, if nothing else. They tried some new stuff that Marvel don't normally get down with.
But yeah, they showed some new footage apparently, which showed a bit of an all-out brawl as the team fought some henchmen, which, I mean, we're both kind of excited for this film. It has the potential to be really good. Lilo and Stitch, I think, got some extra footage shown. Pixar announced Elio, their next...
Elio?
E-L-I-O, Elio.
Okay.
Their next animated film, I imagine.
Interesting.
Fantastic Four showed new footage. That, according to the people that have seen it, because we are yet to see it, unfortunately. I'd love if they just would release it. Apparently, really, it showed that Sue is pregnant, like you'd kind of very early on predicted. And then there was a lot of more shots of Julia Garner as Silver Surfer.
Seems like a lot of the trailer was focused around kind of the Silver Surfer's arrival and the Fantastic Four trying to like calm the world that it wasn't the end of days type beat.
Apparently, she looks great as Silver Surfer.
Not surprised.
Something I have seen talk from the people that have seen it is we got more looks of the Thing, more looks of Sue using a bit of her powers and Johnny flaming up. Still no Reed powers shown. And I don't know if that's them doing it on purpose or if it's they're still tweaking how it looks because they're not quite happy with... Because, like, I fully understand. Getting a stretchy, like, doing that with VFX is not going to be easy to make it look good. Like, it can very quickly look goofy.
It's one of them ones where the pessimist in me is like, oh, it doesn't look good yet. They don't want us to see it. The optimist in me is like, they've uncovered some new tech. This is gonna look fucking insane, and they don't want it to be wasted on a trailer. They want people to come out of the film and go, "Holy fuck! Did Pedro Pascal actually stretch his body like that? Because
I
what the
mean,
fuck?"
it could also be
That's what
that
that's
thing
what the
of,
optimist in me is saying. It's like, no, they nailed it so hard. They actually want that to be what the internet's talking about when they come out.
part of me does hope it's that case of the same scenes that were shown in the trailer actually will have him stretching in the film, but they're just choosing not to show us because they want that
That
reveal.
chalkboard shot of him, he absolutely has his arm out the length of the
I
board. It's
think
just
they
going to
want
happen.
the reveal to be in the cinema.
Absolutely.
We got Freakier Friday had some footage shown.
That was one of my predictions.
It was, yeah. Predator Badlands had
Yeah, is this
some
an
footage shown.
animated project?
No, this is
Or is this
live
the
action.
next
There
film?
is another Predator animated, I think, in the works, but that
Oh,
wasn't
okay.
announced here, I don't think.
Got you.
This is Predator landing on some alien planet where he's essentially now being hunted more so, and some people try helping him. It's a follow-on from this universe that's been set up from the Prey film. That this new kind of direction with the Predator stuff. I mean, could be interesting. Predator films, I think some of them obviously have been solid, and the Alien vs Predator stuff and all that, and then some of them have been obviously over the years have been a bit weaker, but who knows? Tron Ares got a trailer reveal, which has then also now been revealed to the public, showing the world of Tron and stuff arriving in the real world. We got some light cycles on a highway, then pursued by a police car where they turned on their light trails and sliced the car in half, which I thought visually looked amazing.
One thing I did see people talking about is like, why on God's green earth would you want to tell a Tron story in a normal, boring city and not on the grid? Which I think is a fair criticism. Also, Jared Leto's in it. I don't really care.
I think the story could be interesting because I think the story is like these worlds colliding. So like, there's obviously I think something interesting there. Or yeah, I mean, Jared Leto is but
the worst actor ever.
Tron is pretty cool, and I kind of like the whole red color theming that was going on. And
it could do numbers for sure.
Zootopia 2 got an announcement, which had people very excited. Your favorite franchise, Avatar, showed first footage for Fire and Ash.
Boom! I've hit all three of my Disney predictions. Fantastic Four, Freakier Friday, Avatar 3. Boom. Nailed it.
Apparently it showed the Ash tribe, who are a vicious tribe, attacking the Air tribe. So now they're not got humans just to deal with, they've got evil fellow aliens.
So at what point do the people who came up with Avatar The Last Airbender sue James Cameron?
Everything was...
Because this is taking the piss at this point.
Yeah, because it's like, after the second one, they kind of regained a bit of peace by fighting off things. It's like, everything was fine till the Fire Nation attacked.
Like, what are we doing, James Cameron? You...
Apparently, as expected, the footage looked stunning from a visual effects perspective.
Of course it does.
I imagine they are really pushing the boat with like smoke, fire, ash simulation, all that stuff. That's like definitely going to be pushing it to the next level than we've ever seen before. Like we always say, these are just a glorified tech demo.
Such an expensive, over-the-top tech demo. Like,
as a creative, I don't care though. I enjoy an over-the-top tech demo. Just because I get to look at pretty things and be like, oh my god, you can do that in CGI now.
It feels like a waste to me. I'd much rather they would either just do a tech demo or tell an actually interesting story and use the technology.
Hey, maybe this story is good.
The Fire Nation attacked Tori. I've seen this story.
Exactly, it's a good story. And then finally, Deliver Me from Nowhere, which is a Bruce Springsteen biopic. had a
that
first
title
look.
had me think it would be like a sci-fi Blade Runner type thing or something.
So yeah, apparently that had a first look shown.
Oh, that's starring the bear.
Oh,
Jeremy Allen White.
yeah.
Christ alive,
I
yeah.
hadn't realised that.
Jeremy Allen White is playing Bruce Springsteen.
Okay, that could be.
So is Timothy Chalamet going to arrive at the end of it as Bob Dylan and start like? Is that what's going to happen? And then Taron Egerton's going to rock up as Elton John again.
That wrapped up Disney, and that is everything that was announced at CinemaCon. Yeah, quite a lot.
Big event. I think we did pretty well of our predictions. I think I got over 50%, so I'm pretty fucking hyped about that.
Yeah, honestly, all I would have loved more would have the Fantastic Four thing to have been now released to us by now.
Yeah.
Like the Superman stuff extended one was. Give us this Fantastic Four footage.
For sure.
I would have loved something else from DCU. But I suppose the only other stuff that maybe they would have shown would have been like TV show stuff, which obviously isn't for this. So
maybe some Supergirl early footage, but we know they're not getting into marketing stuff too ahead of time anymore. Yeah. They're like, we're going to market it when the time is nearly here, so maybe that's an extension of that.
Yeah. But yeah,
awesome.
I think overall a very good event.
Yeah, no, definitely. There was a lot of stuff that gets you excited there, which is at the end of the day what stuff like this is all about, for better or worse. Right, Nerd News Network.
Yes.
We've got some bits to cover. Let's get into it.
We do.
After us dubbing them the most dead a character has ever been before a film comes out, they finally remember Taskmaster exists for some of the Thunderbolts marketing.
Do you think... Well, I think that part of that marketing campaign, they always were going to have Taskmaster, but do you think they chose to run this campaign now after everyone went, oh, she didn't even get a chair, she's definitely dead?
One of the posters, literally, you can see that they photoshopped her into the corner of it because she's so much smaller than everyone else. And they're like, yeah, but she's there.
There's definitely we should add her back. I liked, because they did, this is a lightning bolt, this is a thunderbolt. I saw Xbox quote tweet them and said, oh, I'm glad you liked our marketing campaign. This is not an Xbox. This is an Xbox.
One that cracked me up was another one they did was like they went through each of the characters and they had like a different slogan on them and then said this is a thunderbolt. And on Taskmaster they used the same line as the Winter Soldier. And everyone was like, oh my god, they literally didn't even come up with a new line for Taskmaster. And then people are like, but wait, Taskmaster's whole thing is they copycat. Is this just like them leaning into that? I'm like, you know what? Taskmaster's so dead, they might have just lucked out on the whole copycat thing.
Nah, I definitely think someone was like, they were sat in a room being like, we need a slogan for her, and someone just went, she's the same one I think, she's a copycat. And they're like, oh my god, you genius. And he's like, all right, just save myself a few minutes of work.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's quite funny. Marvel Rivals Season 2 is due to drop yesterday as this episode comes out. Emma Frost will be joining us at the beginning of Season 2. Ultron will be joining us in the middle of Season 2. Very fun, very exciting.
Yeah, they look
like they've done a good job.
We're getting an Ultron-themed map later when he comes out.
It should be good.
They just dropped out of nowhere like everything in one go, which was pretty wild.
Yeah. Minecraft reviews are in. They are not good.
No.
But it is the best grossing opening for a video game adaptation ever. And it is the 4th best opening of a PG film of all time, doing better than Inside Out 2, which ended up making 1.7 billion. You know my opinion, I want more people in the cinema, I do. The behaviour I've seen from some people at Minecraft screenings
these things
is fucking abhorrent.
Do you know what I think is kind of happened, which has unfortunately boosted its numbers, is because it is a bad film, like subjectively. Obviously, yes, it's made for kids. Kids of the age of like 10 and around that, however, they're not going to care how well it's written or whatever, and it's got stupid humor. Like, yeah, they're going to enjoy it. The kids going and like going crazy with their reaction stuff at the chicken jockey thing. I think it's like the Morbin time.
Yeah, it's meme culture. But
Yeah,
back in the day when a bad film was coming out and we were memeing it, no one went to see it.
yeah, we did it
Like with
online.
Morbius, no one went to see it.
Well, they
We
did.
gaslit Sony into re-releasing it, and no
Mm.
one went to see it again.
There was a chunk of people that went all suited up and were like Morbin, but like, yeah, they're not to this scale.
It made no money. Like
Yeah,
it cost them a fuck ton of
I
money.
think
Like this is my problem. And like it's not even just that people have gone to like hate watch it. I'm not against doing that. I've gone to see films I know are going to be shit because I think there might be an element of it might be so bad it's kind of fun.
Hmm.
It's the people screaming
Yes.
along with lines in the film, throwing popcorn at the screen, taking their phone out and filming it for a TikTok.
Yeah, what's the
Cinema
word?
etiquette fucking
Etiquette.
matters.
That's the word I was trying to think.
If
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this now, if I catch you, no matter even if it's a Minecraft screening of a film that I don't give a fuck about, if I catch you in my cinema being loud, obnoxious, throwing food and filming it, you better hope fucking security come and get you out before I do it. Because that is the one place on planet Earth I genuinely can shut my mind down a little bit and enjoy what I'm watching without a million things going on like in the Chrome tabs of my mind. If you are ruining that experience, we're gonna have fucking problems.
There's only been 2 times where I've accepted some applause and light cheering. That was in Endgame with the on your left, and everyone kind of freaked out because all the portals opened, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, they're here!" And then everyone went back to being quiet. The other was in Spider-Man when we got the reveal of all the Spider-Man were here, and we all went, "Oh my god, no way, they've done it!" And then everyone went back to quiet.
Here's the thing, even with them, and I know what you're talking about, it was just like a ooh. It wasn't like throwing food, jumping up
No,
and
there
down,
was
getting
some
in people's
cheer. Like the,
ways.
the loudest thing was like a group cinema cheering, but
Yeah.
like, yeah, no, people weren't freaking the fuck out. No,
Yeah, and it's just, and this is my problem. And yeah, this film's making money because of meme culture, and
unfortunately,
unfortunately, that means that cinema people are going to learn the wrong lessons from it.
I will give it one props. Um, they put a tribute to Technoblade in there,
Yes,
and apparently that came. The young lad actor who plays one of the kids, he asked them to put that in there because he said there's this really important guy in the Minecraft community called Technoblade, and they did that for him. So I think props to him for getting them to do that, even if that is the only good thing that comes out of that film.
I think a Minecraft film could have been phenomenal. I genuinely do
Mm-hmm.
think that. I think having Jack Black just in a Jack Black voice announce everything that's in Minecraft, it just makes it kind of slop. And don't get me wrong, I get it's a kids' film, I do. But there's people like me and yourself who are mid to late 20s who have been playing Minecraft since we were 10, 12, 13 years old that are also like, I would have liked to be able to go see that film and it not just be dog shit.
Yeah, I also feel like that kind of sort of humor, which is like easy, cheap sort of humor. If you're gonna do that, do it a fully animated, not realistic looking animation. Have Jack Black be an animated character of Steve. Like, just play into that. Make it a bit more like
Do
that's
you
a
know
bit
what I
more
would have
accepted.
liked this film to be for a way that I would have enjoyed it and it still would have been sellable to kids? Make it a group of 2 or 3 kids get stuck in Minecraft Jumanji style, and Steve is the animated character who they like work with to save the villagers.
Hmm.
So kids literally get to have that. They watch that film and they're like, oh my god, Steve is helping someone who looks like me save the villagers, and Steve gets to be a big hero instead of just Jack Black wearing a blue t-shirt.
Yeah, no, it's missed the mark.
I think so. Peacemaker Season 2 is premiering on August 21st on Max. I believe in the UK we should be able to watch that on Sky Atlantic. But I've not seen them advertise it yet, although it is quite early still. I believe the first season was on Sky Atlantic, so we should be okay. But
Probably, yeah, Sky and Now TV, maybe then.
Yeah. Sabrina Carpenter is the latest person to make their way into Fortnite.
Yep.
I don't believe any of her emotes are going to be her Juno positions, surprisingly.
Imagine the
outcry from parents.
Someone's going to mod them in.
Yeah. That was just a little meme from me. Channing Tatum has claimed that he isn't necessarily playing Gambit in Doomsday. It was just his name on the back of a chair.
Okay, mate. And Paul Rudd's not playing Ant-Man, even though they gave him a tiny chair.
This is about as believable as Andrew Garfield going, that's Photoshop, when the leaked picture of him in No Way Home got leaked.
Yeah.
It's like, just give it up, bro. Who are you trying to convince? Not to talk about tariffs for too long, but I did feel it was pertinent, as they could even be affecting the film industry. As part of China's retaliation against the Trump administration, China are considering banning American films from being shown in China, which is, as we know, a huge market for Marvel, Star Wars, things like that. The films that do well in China are the films that cross that 1.5-2 billion market range. So, depending on how long this trade war between China and America goes on, it could end up affecting Hollywood in a pretty major way.
Yeah, and I imagine it will also affect film budgets, because you can't tell me that a lot of equipment doesn't somehow have parts or come from overseas, and that cost is going to get put, like we know with everything, that cost is going to get put back onto the buyer.
Looks like commonly used is already in America, which won't be too big of an issue. It is going to be a case of if anything breaks down, like the IMAX cameras, of which there aren't that many in the world, like in the grand scheme of cameras. Yeah, if one of them breaks down, how does that get repaired? Does it need parts from China? Does that make it expensive? Do you fly your equipment and store it in Europe, even though you as an American company still own it, so that if it needs to be fixed, you can just get it shipped to like Italy to get repaired? Like, yeah, I don't know how it's going to work.
There's going to be some techie stuff. Like, I imagine it will affect it in many different ways, unfortunately.
Love, Death and Robots is getting a season 4, and it had a trailer for Netflix. I saw you were very excited about this.
Yeah. I mean, I've loved the Love, Death and Robots series, because obviously it gives these studios chance to like showcase their abilities, and we get so many cool different animation styles. We then obviously got the Secret Level series, which we both loved, by the same guys. To get season 4 of this, the trailer, some of these styles look so fucking good. I'm so excited.
These kind of anthology series, like Love, Death, Robots,
Visions,
Star Wars Visions, Secret Level, it feels like the epitome of let talented people make cool shit. And that is like a tenet and belief of mine when it comes to artistry. Let talented people make cool shit, and the world would be a better place for it.
Yeah, one of the things we've lost over the years was like Disney and Pixar, and that they used to make little animated shorts, and that was their way of testing new animation techniques and new styles that then often led to
bigger
things that were used
innovations.
in, and things that got used in the big pictures like Toy Story and stuff. We don't have that as much anymore, because the big studios were like, oh, it's not worth spending the money or letting them do those things. Also, they now just outsource everything.
Yeah.
Love, Death and Robots and these, like you say, these anthology series allow studios to do this and push like ideas and animation techniques, and we get to see that. So very excited.
Robert Pattinson
is
in discussions to join Dune 3, apparently in the antagonist role. this is exciting as Dune fans.
Yes.
As someone who used to rag on Robert Pattinson back when he was the heartthrob from Twilight, I owe him an apology. The last 5 years have just shown that he is a phenomenal actor. I was a teenage boy, all the teenage girl fancied him. What do you want from me? Same reason I hated One Direction. Grow up. Kind of cool to see him potentially joining the Dune Messiah cast. I think he could do a very good job in anything he's given because he's a very talented actor. However, I'm not as scared as some people on the internet, but people have raised a concern that they're starting to feel like the Batman Part 2 will never happen. And I get that concern a little bit. I'm not being as negative about them as them. It does feel like it's been delayed 1,000,001 times. And I think when you've got a certain subsection of people who claim to be DC fans saying everything bad that's going to happen at DC is because of James Gunn, and then if you're excited for the Batman Part 2, it seems to be going slowly. Meanwhile, James Gunn stuff is progressing normally. You could absolutely fall into the trap of thinking James Gunn's just trying to quietly cancel Matt Reeves' films. I don't think that's what's happening. I think Matt Reeves is working on some stuff. I think it's more complicated than maybe the public is aware. And I think shit takes time.
I think it's as simple, really, as James Gunn is like, Matt Reeves did a great job. I'm just going to leave him to it. He knows he's like, everything he's shown me I'm like cool with. It sounds great. I'm letting him do his thing. Matt Reeves is a creative going through that thing of like, I want this to be perfect, probably overthinking too much of it, and it's just taking him a while to reach this final idea.
We'll get it. I genuinely believe that.
Yeah, so do
I. This was big news literally earlier today, by the way.
Right.
Universal has revealed that they're opening a new theme park in Bedford, England, due to launch in 2031. For those who don't know, Bedford is more in the south of England, just outside London, up a little bit and to the left a little bit. It's very close to where I live. This is kind of cool. I've always, for a long time, said, like, a lot of people that, like, you or myself know who, like, go to America, they plan a trip to, like, Disney World, Universal, and then maybe somewhere else like New York. Yeah.
And stuff, yeah.
So they can go and do like them big theme parks because we have nothing like that in the UK. In the same idea of, oh, here was a whole area dedicated to this franchise. In this country, we have theme parks like for just rides only. There's no kind of LARPing areas, if that makes sense. I don't even know how to describe it.
I honestly think the closest thing we have is the Harry Potter studios that you can go visit.
Yeah, and then that's missing the
Yeah, it doesn't have rides and stuff the same.
It doesn't have rides, and also that's more like on the how the films were made, less about trying to experience what it's like. True. But yeah, no, you're probably right. That is the closest.
Yeah, which is wild.
So this is like nothing. If they do it how Universal Studios is in America, and like that same premise, this is going to be like the only thing like it in the UK, and I can see it being very successful.
Yeah, I'll be 36.
Yeah, but like you've got to think as well. This is where people in mainland Europe will come for this as well.
Yeah, no, yeah, oh yeah.
Like the studio tour has people fly in from Japan. Yeah. I mean, Japan not so much anymore because they've now opened one in Japan. But Japan was such a big market for the studio tour. They were like, "Fuck it, let's open one in Japan for them." Like people come from all over the world for a studio tour. Having something like that previously you could only get in America, this close to Europe, is going to make it probably very, very successful.
Fans,
absolutely. It was revealed today as the review embargo lifted for The Last of Us Season 2, that The Last of Us will be getting a Season 3, because apparently, although they can't remaster a TV show, they can't just have it be 2 seasons like it was 2 games.
Yeah, they're replacing Pedro Pascal with someone who's younger and better looking.
Yeah, so by the sounds of it, the Last of Us, the game, The Last of Us Part 2, they decided it was too big to just be 1 season.
Yeah,
So they are
split it.
splitting it into 2 seasons,
Mhm.
which is, I assume, fair enough. And to close us out here, Thunderbolts has been having some test screenings, which you should not put too much stock in, because we've seen films that apparently are shit according to test screenings end up being good, and films that are apparently masterpieces on test screenings end up being shit. But apparently executives are very happy, and it's reportedly testing off the charts. Fuck knows what that actually means, but all it does. Do you know what screen tests mean to me? They are just what do you call it? They are like reinforcing what you already believe. I forget what the phrase is. That it just strengthens what. If you've decided a film is good and you see good screening results, you're like, yeah, told ya. If you decide a film is bad and you see bad testing results, you're gonna be like, yeah, told ya. If the testing results don't align with what you already think about the film, you're gonna be like, don't change my opinion. Testing results mean fuck all. So it's just worth noting that apparently people making the film are happy with what they're seeing.
Yeah.
And that is it from us this week on Cutscene Combos. We will be back in 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
We're missing 2 weeks, so in 3 weeks technically.
Yeah. And that will be our first episode in the new kind of format, which will be a bit different.
Yeah, things will be changing.
And it'll be a gaming only episode.
It will.
Or we might delay that a week to catch up on all the stuff we've missed in between. We'll see. Anyway, thank you as always for hanging out. Make sure you get liked. Make sure you get subscribed. And we'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time.